Today's adventure takes us to Crete, Illinois, where behind me is one of the oldest pioneer cemeteries in Will County. This cemetery goes back to the early 1830s. There's about 800 graves here. Still an active cemetery, believe it or not, nestled in this residential neighborhood. But the most interesting thing about this cemetery, there is a Revolutionary War soldier buried in the cemetery. I'm going to tell you his story, and I'm also going to tell you how he is tied to the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, you heard me right. So come join me as we explore Crete Cemetery. Welcome everybody for another video. Today, Crete Cemetery here in Crete, Illinois. This is a pretty large pioneer cemetery. And we're just gonna dive right in here and see what we can find. Quite a few graves here, over 800. Here we have a bunch of them together. Here we have 1844, July 29th, 1844, August 6, 1844. And these have sunk 1854. That looks like 1854. We can't see that, but I assume they're all the same family. And because of the size of the stone, I'm going to make the assumption that they're probably all children as well. Some older looking stones right here. Let's take a look at these. Charlotte is the name on this one. Hard to find when she died. Let me see if my flashlight would help at this point. Looks to me like it's 1861. Wife of S.W. Chapman. And here's S.W. Chapman right here. Looks like he also died. Maybe that's 1864 for him, or 61. It's hard to tell. Polly is the name on that one. And we have Elizabeth, the name on that one there. Just remarkable number of stones from the 1800s in this cemetery. Here we see a believed to be Civil War. Sergeant George W. Cox, 27th Michigan Infantry. Thank you for your service. And you can see it says soldier on there. This one we have Frank. Let me back up so you can see the whole monument here. Frank Avery Cole, born what looks like 1855, died October 20th, 1856. You see the small stone there, the FAC, so small child. Here's James Eddie Cole, born, that one's going to be harder to read. Death date also hard to read. Somebody had placed what looks like a quarter there. And John Wesley Cole, born 1813, died July 15th. Looks like 1863. It's a soldier there, probably died in the Civil War. I'm going to have to look that one up. And then we have one more on this side. Lyman Clark Cole, died 1852. Right behind me is one in the ground. Let's see if we can see anything on this. Here we go. Martha, wife of J.W. Cole, died, can't make out the month, but 9th day of 1865 it looks like. This cemetery, mostly all old. Mostly all 1800s. Florence is the name here. It's like we have Susan, wife of Samuel W. Cooper. Died March 1886, age, hard to tell, 66 it looks like. And here's Samuel Cooper here, 1893. Hard to tell the age on that one. That's seen some wear, but you see the handshake. Handshake's usually a couple. You see the woman's hand on the left and the man's hand on the right. Susan on the left and Samuel on the right. Fortunately, that one's not readable. And we have Mary Cooper here, 1850 to 1915. She was 64. It says a teacher on there. That's a nice touch. You know what she did. Here's another Cooper one that I felt was interesting. It's just a large rock, basically. It says Dennis Cooper, 1840 to 1911 on there. Creative way of memorializing somebody. Let's check this one out, because this is also a large chunk of granite. Harriet Starr, 1884, and then William Starr, 1856. Nice monument to them. It's like they're going to need to start cutting this rather soon. The grass is pretty high. Let's see what we've got over here. Charles Horn, born 1828, died 1888. Frederick Horn, 1825, died 1909. And William Holloway, 1861, 1897. And Bertha Holloway to 1917. It's a nice monument there. Okay, we come up on the Hughes family plot. Here's Sarah, wife of Samuel Hughes. When did she die? 1859 for Sarah. And here's Samuel. Died 1868, I believe that says. Matilda, daughter of Samuel and Sarah. Matilda passed away 1865. So this is Lumen, I believe, Hughes. Yes, so this is the son, and I'll discuss him a little bit in a second. He's the son of a Revolutionary War soldier. And we'll get to the Revolutionary War soldier right here. William Hughes, here in Crete, Illinois. Revolutionary War soldier. Died 1855. So he was born in Bristol County, Massachusetts. He married his wife, Abigail Woodcock, in February 18th, 1832 in New Hampshire, and there's her right there. And he moved to Illinois in 1847 to live with his son, but he enlisted in the Colonial Army as a private, and I could go over his story here for you in a second. All right, so in June of 1780, let me show you his stone right here. There we go. In June of 1780, he was in New Hampshire. He enlisted as a volunteer private in the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment, commanded by Colonel Reed. The regiment was marched to West Point in the month of June. of 1780. From here, they marched down the Hudson River to Orangetown, where they remained a couple of weeks. Then they marched to the English neighborhood and made a stand for a few weeks. They moved to New Jersey, where they remained for a few more weeks, and then after this they returned to the English neighborhood. He was then sent to Fishkill, New York to guard stores and prisoners, after which he returned to winter quarters until he was discharged. He was given a written discharge signed by Colonel George Reed. It's pretty amazing. He eventually made his way to Illinois to live with his son Lumen after he got a little bit older. So what's interesting is William applied for his pension, and you had to be in the service for 6 months to get your pension. However, when he applied for it, they rejected it and said you weren't in the service for 6 months. And he said, well, you didn't account for my time coming to and from the war. And he got some affidavits signed from his higher-ups, and they were able to give him his pension, and William was making a rate of $20 per year pension for serving in the Revolutionary War. Kind of an interesting story. Revolutionary War soldier buried right here in Crete, Illinois. Beautiful spring day here in the south suburbs of Chicago. We see the beach monument here. Very hard to tell as to the name on that. The cemetery is absolutely incredible. I mean, just nestled in a neighborhood at this point. Look at this, the broken column. William Dewey is the name, 1871 is the death date. We have some here that very difficult to read. They're more of a sandstone, which does not last very well in this climate. Difficult for me to read that. There's some larger monuments over here that I would like to go take a peek at. Hughes is the name on this. R.A. Elvira, wife of N.W. Hughes, passed away January, it looks like 1860 something, at the age of 32. That is a beautiful monument. We have Addison Hughes on this side, 1855 to 1907. And here's N.W. Hughes, 1832 to 1894. And that side is blank. Robinson on this one. Joseph Robinson died 1903. And Judith, his wife, looks to have died 1880, age of 67. Another beautiful monument here. Adeline Hughes died 1902, it looks like, October 6th, age of 83. There's William Hughes. November 17th, 1865. 1863 maybe. I believe this was one of the sons of William Hughes, the Revolutionary War soldier. Oh, and I should tell you this too. William Hughes, the Revolutionary War soldier, his uncle, Joseph Hughes, actually has a signature on the Declaration of Independence. The man signed the Declaration of Independence. How remarkable is that? A lot of Hughes in this cemetery. There was a Hughes homestead and farm in this area. There's George, 1845 to 1900, and Esther. Esther was very young, 1854 to 1880. So Esther was in her 20s, I believe, when she passed away. Beautiful monument here. Draped Freemason symbology right there. John, it looks like. Wilson Jr., born 1826. Died. We're going to have to get my flashlight out on this one. Died 1869, it looks like. Aged 42. And Jane Wilson Reed, if you could see down there, June 1830 something, died 1910. And seems to be the only ones there, but I want to show you this one behind me. Look at this, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know if it is a Woodsman of America, sure looks like it. Large anchor here. Let's see if we can figure out. Abraham Darling, born something in 1815, January 19th, 1815, died October 21st, it looks like. Ooh, and then it gets really tough to read. 1889, and I see Elizabeth there. So you could tell they died at different times because his inscription is not bad. Hers, very, very difficult to read. Very difficult to read. So you may hear in the background, it must be near a railroad track, is freight train coming through. Now it looks like a passenger train from what I could tell. Beautiful tree stump monument. Given the time period and that, I'm guessing this is a Woodsman of America. The only one I do see in here. Just wonderful. As we hear the train rumble through in the distance, interrupting the morning silence. Here's Walter Robert Calden, Indiana. U.S. Navy, April 17th, 1932. Guessing World War I. Let's take a general walk through here, see what we can find. Worrell's the name. This one's in really great shape. Esther, daughter of Edwin and Clara Worrell, 1888 to 1889, so she wasn't even a year old for little Esther. This one says Jane up there. Very hard to read. Louisa Harriet, born looks like 1872, died that same year. And I see Richard, it's like 1876, and also may have died that same year. We have Mary, 1879, also looks like died that same year. So it looks like there was a lot of tragedy in this family. There's an inscription there that can no longer be read. Beautiful monument. I mean, this is really hard to read, guys. Not going to be able to read this. I mean, this isn't smooth at all now. This is just really a rough tombstone. We do see Davis here. We see those names I just read. Here's their, looks like here's some of their tombstones. Yeah, pretty sad. Let's see if I can read this one. No. I see 1816, 1881. Very difficult to read. Yeah, I see something Davis there. I mean, this stone is just too weathered. I mean, you could see where the face of the stone was, and there's about a good 1/8 inch of that stone weathered away. Very sad. But while we're here, I do see a couple of military. We have, what do we got here? We have David Feet, it looks like. 38th Illinois Infantry. Thank you for your service. And then we have Leo, U.S. Navy, 1921 to 2001. Thank you for your service, Leo. It's going to wrap things up here, but then I saw this one with all the flowers near it, and I had to see, what is this? Joseph Perry, Doctor Joseph Perry, and I don't know if you could see that with the reflection. But August 1st, 1820 to November 17th, 1887, pioneer Doctor of Crete, benefactor of mankind, and somebody still put some flowers here on the doctor's grave. It's very nice that they still remember him. And they have the main Perry family stone right over here. And here we do have Joseph Perry at the top. You can see that. MD. Caroline Wilson Perry. Assume his wife. Died in 1900. Robert Perry. Died 1894, probably one of his sons. Buried at Bosemond Mount, son of Dr. J. and C. Perry. Mary Grover Brown Nee Perry. And William Henry Brown. All here at the Perry family burial site. Okay, guys, what a lovely, lovely old pioneer cemetery. I mean, we have a Revolutionary War soldier in here, the first doctor of Crete, Illinois, buried in here. I mean, just over 800 graves, just the history in this cemetery that everyone just kind of forgets about. It's here in the middle of this residential neighborhood, just sitting here, kind of forgotten. Lawn's not even cut yet. But what a great piece of history in this cemetery. So thank you very much for joining me today. And as always, until next time, keep exploring.